In the previous video, I showed you how to add a new page and then start adding the team information with the team picture. But on that one, that softball page I was creating, I only did Mount Vernon, but for this year, there were actually 3 co-champs. So the layout's a little bit different. So I want to show you in this video how I do co-champs where there's 2 or 3 teams. So we can see, you can kind of see the gray outline here. This is a table. So all I did for this, I'll create a new one. Let's go to this icon right here, table. And then I just need 2 rows. I need 1 row for the team names, 1 row for the pictures below it. And then the number of columns will depend on how many champs you have. Obviously, if there's just 2 co-champs, you would do 2 columns. In this case, there were 3, so I changed that to 3. I don't want the border to be visible when the page is displayed, so I changed that to 0. I also don't want the table width to be just 500. I want it to expand depending on the size of the screen, so I get rid of that and I hit OK. Now, by getting rid of the 500, it also just automatically resizes this to be almost invisible. But if I start typing, so like team 1, tab, team 2, tab, now the table starts to expand. I can see my columns, and then I'd put the pictures in here, and as I put the pictures in, then it'll expand to take up the entire page. Also, I usually change the team names to heading 2. You could do something different if you want to. There is then a couple of little changes that need to be made then once you've created that table. So if I switch to source, let me just go ahead and get rid of that table that I just created. So here's my previous table. So since there were 3 teams, I want each of the cell widths to be like 33%, a third of the page. I want equal column widths. So in each TD, I went in and I put a width equals 33%. If there were only 2 teams, I would have changed that to width equals 50%. So each one would take up 50%. So I only have to do that on each of the TDs, the table cells in the first row. So I'm in the first row. Second row, you don't have to do that. Once it's set for the first row, it keeps the same width throughout. Then for the pictures, in the previous video, I showed you that I set that usually to like 85% or 90%. You would think that this would need changed to 33%, but this percent is actually based then on the parent, which is the cell. So since the cell is already 33% of the page, I want the picture to pretty much fill the cell. So usually I'll set this somewhere between 97 to 99. I usually want just a little bit of space in between the pictures, so you can see there's just a little bit of space there. I don't want the pictures touching each other, but something between 97 to 99 is usually pretty good. And then the last thing, in the previous video, I just did this data color box inline equals pick. I mentioned in that video that if you had more than 1 picture, you're going to need to change that, and that is what I had to do here. So I changed this one to MV for Mount Vernon, and then for Philadelphia, I used NP, and then eventually, once Madison gets their pictures to me, I'll need to put that in as well. So if you have more than 1 champ, just make sure that you're also changing these IDs so that each one has a unique ID.